and welcome. My name is James Russell, and this is my reflection video for my portfolio. I am pursuing a graduate degree in educational technology with a certificate in online teaching. I enrolled in the MET program in the fall of 2010. During my 3-year journey, I have learned many valuable concepts that I have already put into place in my classroom and many others that I hope to use in the next phase of my career. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a middle school math teacher in Casper, Wyoming, and have been teaching middle-level math for 10 years. I have always been interested in technology and how I can enhance the instruction in my classroom with technology. I have been fortunate enough to teach in a one-to-one school district for most of my career. All of my students have an Apple laptop they use at school and at home. I chose this program because I wanted to learn more about infusing my classroom with technology. In this video, I will share with you 4 of my favorite and most useful artifacts I created while here at Boise State. My personal learning network, my digital divide letter, my evaluation of ebooks, and my digital footprint. I will share what I learned while creating these artifacts and how these artifacts have impacted my teaching. One of the first projects we did was to create a graphic of our personal learning network. A personal learning network is all the websites, applications, and Web 2.0 tools you use as a professional. The graphic I created was a web. As you can see, my PLN has many different parts. There are the professional organizations I belong to, such as NEA and NCTM. There are Google and all of the Google apps, Boise State's Department of Ed Tech, as well as several social networking sites like Facebook, Twitter, and blogs. I took this idea and had my students create their own PLNs. Most of theirs were very small to begin with, but as the year progressed, we added to them. By the end of the year, my students will have a great network from which to pull from as they move forward in their education. My own personal PLN has expanded to include people and not just tools. I have added Boise State's professors, my principals and peers in my own school, as well as my family members. People can be one of your greatest resources as a professional. The next project I want to showcase is my digital divide letter to my superintendent of schools. The digital divide refers to the gap between students that have access and the students that do not. My school district has tried to bridge this gap by becoming Wyoming's first one-to-one school. Every student in grades 6 through 12 has an Apple laptop that is checked out to them, and they get to use it at school and take it home. This has solved the issue of access to technology, but has not solved the issue of access to the internet. This access is termed digital inequality. In 2003, the NCES did a study on this issue and have highlighted some of their findings here. The most staggering statistics for me were in the percentage of students with access based upon their parents' education. 88% of students' parents who earned at least a college degree have internet access at home. This is compared to 55% with a high school diploma and only 35% when the parents didn't finish high school. This is an alarming trend. Schools can stress the importance of education all they want, but if parents do not value it, the students will not value it. I am pleased to say that my district has begun a process of offering help to those families that cannot afford internet, and currently 78% of the students in my classrooms have access while at home. In EdTech 505, we had to perform an evaluation of a program that was important to us. The program I chose was the use of ebooks in schools. I chose this program because in 2010, my school chose to replace textbooks with ebooks. Now, with the adoption of the Common Core State Standards, we are in need of new books. We want to know if we should continue with the ebook or go back to a traditional text. Our math program will be the most impacted, as it is the first subject to adopt new materials. When designing this evaluation, I had 4 questions that I needed to answer. First, how are the ebooks being used in a math classroom? How do the students feel about using an ebook? How do the teachers feel about teaching with an ebook? And how do the parents feel about their students using an ebook? Each of the stakeholders needed to be represented so that the evaluation team could make an appropriate decision. To answer these questions, I designed surveys for each group and collected and analyzed the data. When this program began in 2010, it had 3 main goals. The first was to reduce the cost of textbook-related repairs. Textbook repairs cost school districts thousands of dollars each year. The second goal was to increase student attitude for mathematics. Our hope was that by using the computer, our students would have a positive attitude towards math class. And the third goal was to reduce the backpack weight for students. Textbooks are heavy. We wanted to lighten the backpacks of our students to reduce the risk of injury. After collecting and analyzing the data and looking at these three goals, I was able to report that the ebooks were a success in our school. The school met all three stated goals, and two of the three stakeholders preferred the ebook to the traditional text. 89% of the students reported that they preferred the ebook versus a traditional text. 85% of teachers said the same thing. However, only 63% of parents. The parent group was the lone stakeholder that did not prefer the ebook. Most parents said they didn't like the ebook because they did not know how to help their student with their math homework when the text was on the computer. The final project that I wanted to share is the project NEDTech 543, creating a positive digital footprint. A digital footprint is the evidence you leave behind when interacting online. Items such as text messages, Facebook posts, blog entries, all of these have a trail for others to find. It is imperative in this day and age that we are conscious of this and work as hard as we can to leave a positive digital footprint. 70% of employers are looking online anymore to see what kind of candidate you are. When doing this project, I took time in my advisory class to have a discussion about the digital footprint. My students had never heard of it before. After explaining the concept to them, we were able to come up with several examples of negative footprints. Embarrassing photos or videos, negative or obscene posts on Facebook and Twitter, and even bullying are some of the examples that my students came up with. After much discussion, we were able to build a list of guidelines that should be followed to ensure that we are leaving a positive digital footprint. Our list of guidelines is as follows. Do not post pictures that are compromising, unflattering, or place you in bad situations. When blogging, Facebooking, or tweeting, be careful what and how much you share. People don't need to know too much about you. Do a good deed and post about it. This looks good to people who are searching for you. Take time to be sure that when contributing to a social media site or blog, that you spell check and use proper grammar. 70% of employers have rejected applicants after a search on social network sites. Be very aware of what you post or text. As a teacher, I need to educate my students about social media and be sure they realize it is much bigger than just Facebook and Twitter. Discuss with them the differences between positive and negative footprints. As a professional, I need to join educational blogs and contribute to them. I need to use my Facebook and Twitter accounts to post and collaborate with other professionals. This will get my name out in a positive light. I will make all of my posts public for anyone to see. This will encourage me to further make sure that my posts are positive and professional, and that I am not posting things that are not relevant. The last thing is, as a teacher, I need to teach my students about netiquette, what that means, and how to use that so that they leave a positive digital footprint. If we follow these guidelines, we should ensure that our footprints are positive. My 3-year journey through this program has been very educational. When I entered this program, I thought I knew how to use technology in my classroom. But after participating in the coursework, I have learned so much more. These 4 projects are only a sampling of the coursework that I have completed here at Boise State University. The MET program has made me a better teacher, and I am very excited to see what doors open up for me and how I can use this knowledge in the future. I've learned about netiquette, using social networks in the classroom, lesson design, and web editing. These skills, among others learned in this program, should make me very marketable to future employers So thank you to the Ed Tech Department at Boise State University.